One of the most destructive weapons from the dark age of technology, and still used by the Imperium, is what this video is about. Be they mounted on tanks or titans, the Volcano cannon is deadly. In this video, we'll look at their origins, how they're used in combat to annihilate the enemy, what limits they have, not many, and how they have been embraced by the Imperium. Let's begin. Originally deployed for use on numerous classes of Imperial Titan, Volcano cannons were later adapted to be mounted upon the Shadow Sword super heavy tank, which utilises the same STC technology as the Baneblade, but results in slightly shorter range. Of course, it is not only the Imperium's Titans that dominate the battlefield with such a weapon. Those who have turned traitor and fight alongside the forces of chaos also make use of it, incinerating hive cities or burning entire Imperial regiments with repeated shots. The Volcano cannon produces a highly volatile but condensed terawatt beam. Once these weapons' capacitors are fully charged, this beam passes through a flawless crystal, each of which is taken from a mineral vein that lies beneath the lava rivers on Cinderus 9. It is said by the Magos geologists that several thousand heretic psychers were slaughtered and buried there for taking part in a traitorous plot to kill Cinderus's planetary governor. Their remains have been compressed unusually quickly by the shifting geological structures and combine with the natural elements present beneath the lava to form a unique crystalline mineral. It remains highly unstable, but its light affecting properties were discovered to be useful to the servants of the master of mankind, the Emperor. When the cannon beam connects with an armoured target, you're going to know about it. It overwhelms with energy, tearing away armour and reducing it to molten slag, then causing the victim to overheat and explode within fractions of a second. Any flesh or biomatter touched by the beam is instantly vaporized into a mist of superheated ions. Though it typically creates a concentrated mid-frequency drone upon firing, it is not uncommon for the surrounding air to be filled with a high-pitched crackling. This violent noise, clawing at the minds of those who serve frequently beside the vehicle, has been thought to induce insanity. Some even claim to hear the final screams of the dead psychers we mentioned earlier, though the tank or Titan crews themselves have never been reported to suffer from these ill effects. As a consequence of these claims, units of infantry escorts are subject to periodic psychometric purges. The Imperium sees this as an acceptable price to pay for deploying such a weapon onto the battlefield. The Adeptus Mechanicus sanctioned model of the Volcano cannon is the Mark IV Phaeton pattern, which was perfected by mid-M35 and is denoted by the astonishing white light of the laser. In contrast, the Mark III Sin pattern Volcano cannon produced an orange-yellow laser akin to the solar flare of a dying star. The original Mark I variant generated a powerful red beam, truly like a river of lava in the night, though it provoked almost as volatile as the unsuccessful Mark II Terra-charged Volcano cannon. This was said to be even more powerful than the current Mark IV, but was never used in service as it almost invariably destroyed the arms of the Titan and hulls of the tanks that carried it. Once the current stable model had been created, it began to be manufactured in small numbers on just a handful of Forge worlds in addition to Mars. These included Esteban III, Phaeton and Griffin Fall, all of which are surrounded by formidable Imperial defences. Production was necessarily limited due to the complexities and inherent danger involved in working with rare volatile crystals. Many within the administratum preferred that knowledge of the weapon's construction be kept limited to safeguard it from the attentions of vile Xenos and insidious traitors. It is well known that a single blast from the Volcano cannon is capable of crippling a Titan or reducing a tank to a pile of molten scrap. Because of such potency, before the weapon is fired on a Shadow Sword, the vehicle's engine must be disengaged so power can be transferred accordingly. Likewise, the capacitors will be thoroughly drained, a result of expanding vast amounts of energy, so must be recharged before the vehicle can move again. Such a sacrifice of mobility for using the Volcano cannon means that a shadow sword must be well protected or skillfully manoeuvred at all times. Among the crew of every shadow sword is a tech priest engine seer who enacts the necessary binary prayers and technical processes while tending to the crystal in order to fire the Volcano cannon successfully. His cold, machine-like presence and weeping cybernetics ensure that he is fully accepted by the rest of the crew, but his dedication to the Shadow Sword's machine spirit keeps the vehicle firing in the heat of battle, so his loyalty will never be questioned. Now we have established that this Volcano cannon is deadly, let's look at some in-novel examples from Titanicus, the cannon's destructive power. Volcano cannon beams could melt through mountain sides. They were limited in range by the curvature of the planet only, nothing else. So close their effect was predictably devastating. Rockcrete glowed white and ran, great gobbets of molten material flowing down the wall and pooling on the ground. The others fired then, laser blasts, sun fury cannon and other volcano beams breaking the wound wider, chipping away at the 40-metre thick walls with tools of superhot gas and coherent light. Her volcano cannon's machine spirit trilled. They were close to overheating. With a thought she shut them down and flushed out their focusing chambers and a burst of precious coolant. Then from a Baneblade, the volcano cannon discharged. Inside its body, 4 terawatt capacitors simultaneously released energy rapid charged by the vehicle's engine. A linear sun burned through the Caledian air. There was a rush of noise, a sonic clap as superheated air burst outwards from the volcano beam. Dust and debris blew out in a brief hurricane. The sensors of the Baneblade were overloaded, screens blinking out, slit windows round the deck turning into slots of painful white, and Bannock threw his hands up to his eyes. A titanic explosion followed, as rocks and metal were instantly vaporized. A Shadow Sword's main armament was designed to punch through void shields. It had enough energy to cut the limbs from a Titan, one of the great planet-shaking engines of the Adeptus Mechanicus. Exotax's men had no chance. A shockwave blasted out, toppling weakened structures round the square, followed by a giant ball of flame bellying from the impact site as the oxygen in the air ignited, setting everything in the square on fire. The Baneblade shuddered as the firestorm passed over it, more alarms ringing out from the damage control system. The fury of the blast died back. Fires burned everywhere. The Baneblade crunched on through the destruction, debris from its hull ablaze, and from Titanicus finally. The Warhound turned in the billowing orange dust that gouted from the hopper's collapse and came straight back at its massive opponent. Its weapon mounts lit up with vivid muzzle flashes as it charged. Some shots smashed into the Warlord's shield, others went wide in response. The Warlord simply fired its volcano cannon in response. The flash seemed to split the heavens like a thunder crack. The blast knocked the baiting engine sideways, its shields fizzling and shimmering as it attempted to repair and compensate. The Warhound tried to regain its footing, but the giant was on it. Void shields wailed and crackled as they brushed against each other. Callie's teeth tingled. She smelled blood in her nose. The Warlord calmly extended its close combat flail and lashed it down across the Warhound's hull in a finishing blow, like a man beating a stubborn dog. So let me know what you think about this weapon and its destructive firepower in the comments below, and if you like this video on weapons from the Dark Age, why not try this one?